Los BRICS están listos para acabar con el dólar. El mundo financiero está a punto de ser sacudido como nunca antes. Imagínense esto. El dólar estadounidense, la base de las finanzas globales, está al borde de una caída histórica. La cuenta regresiva avanza, y cuando llegue octubre de 2024, se espera que un cambio sísmico afecte a la economía mundial. Las potencias del BRICS, Brasil, Rusia, India, China y Sudáfrica, se están preparando para lanzar una bomba financiera que podría provocar conmociones en todo el mundo. Esto no es solo una especulación descabellada. Las señales han estado ahí durante años, y algunas personas con visión aguda, como el ex congresista Ron Paul, lo vieron venir. Allá por 2008, en medio de la crisis financiera, Paul nos advirtió sobre el inminente colapso del dólar. En aquel entonces, su advertencia fue descartada como pesimista, pero ¿adivinen qué? Sus predicciones ahora se están desarrollando en tiempo real. Los países BRICS, junto con un número cada vez mayor de países, están abandonando el dólar en favor de una nueva moneda respaldada por materias primas.
The United States economy is absolutely caught between a rock and a hard place right now. The Fed is absolutely screwed right now, and they know it. And now we're hearing from some of the Fed governors, which are sort of quietly admitting the truth. They just admitted that the US dollar is about to change in a big way over the next few months. Pay attention to what's happening. So a couple of big news stories to get to that will directly affect your family and your finances in the next few months. So you better pay attention to this. Okay, right before the Memorial Day weekend, Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the world, fired off a shot heard around the world. He issued an ominous warning about the U.S. economy. It made headlines everywhere. And when the most influential banker in America talks, it's wise to listen. Whether you agree with his politics or not, it doesn't matter. Jamie Dimon said he cannot rule out a hard landing for the U.S. economy. For those unfamiliar, of course, a hard landing is an abrupt and severe economic slowdown, followed then by a period of rapid growth. So in simple terms, it's a crash, okay? It's a crash. And who gets hurt the most in a crash? Yeah, middle class and lower class individuals. That's who gets hurt. Dimon, of course, is being very candid, admitting that anyone who reads history knows there's a good chance of a crash coming. And that's not all. Dimon went on to say that the worst possible scenario for the United States economy is stagflation.
So I look at the range of outcomes, and again, the worst outcome for all of us is what I call stagflation. Higher rates, a recession, that means corporate profits will go down, and we'll get through all of that. I mean, the world will survive that, but I just think the odds are a little bit higher than other people think.
Of course, stagflation is a nightmare scenario where inflation keeps rising, unemployment stays high, economic growth stalls out. It's the perfect storm that economists, of course, dread. And in fact, they dread it more than a recession. That's why Dimon says what's happening in America reminds him of the stagflation of the 1970s in America. It was a devastating period for Americans, and it could do so again. Stocks would plummet, hitting 401ks, retirement savings particularly hard. Adding to this gloomy picture, JP Morgan's own internal analysts are forecasting market volatility, despite the stock market reaching record highs this year. They warn it could become very unstable very soon. The S&P 500, for instance, could fall by 20%, they say, by the end of the year. 20%. That's according to JP Morgan's chief market strategist. That is a significant drop, and it could wipe out a lot of gains that people have been relying on for their financial security. Imagine if you're about to retire and your 401k gets wiped out by 20%. Sound familiar? 2008, 2009 all over again? People who were ready for retirement, and then because of the crash, their entire retirement was wiped out and they had to continue working and never were able to retire. Let's be clear about what...
Es sabido que detrás de cada conflicto bélico hay un motivo económico, por lo que existe una permanente batalla en este terreno. De modo que, hasta ahora, Washington ha mantenido su hegemonía financiera y comercial, aplastando a las naciones que se atreven a rebelarse. No obstante, surgió un poderoso adversario para el que no tiene respuesta. Es así como la milenaria China viene copando los espacios que eran del dominio exclusivo del abusivo hegemón. En tal sentido, acaba de asestar un golpe mortal a la economía de su rival al deshacerse de $53,000 millones en bonos de la deuda estadounidense, hundiendo aún más el valor y prestigio del dólar. Los detalles.
Ahora viene el nuevo episodio de esta temporada, que es: no dejaremos que nuestras armas se utilicen para atacar a Rusia. La OTAN da el primer paso diciéndole ya a los países OTAN, y ya hay algunos que lo han aceptado, que las armas vayan sin restricciones a Ucrania para que puedan atacar en territorio ruso. Con este pequeño claim, ¿no?, pegado a los objetivos rusos, golpear objetivos legítimos en Rusia. Lo que nos llevaría a un elemento en el que ahora sí que habría que empezar a calibrar por parte del inversor, por parte del mercado, si la escalada conduce ahora ya prácticamente inevitable a un choque final entre OTAN y Rusia, cuyos efectos ahora mismo son inexplorados, no se conocen. En la Guerra Fría no se dio el siguiente paso, pero que ahora en esas guerras proxy sí se ve un movimiento de que puedan ahondar no solo en la Segunda Guerra Fría, sino en el camino hacia una tercera guerra mundial.
Have you ever wondered what World War III might look like? Well, newsflash, it's about to look a whole lot different than what we expect. Forget missiles and tanks. I mean, sure, that'll be there, but the real battlefield is much less flashy. And CNN is going to be pissed that they can't send reporters to the war zone so they can wear those little green helmets and show off explosions.
We want to roll the video right before he was supposed to go on the air.
Oh, I'd say...
No, this war has already started in the shadows, over resources, over commodities, and it's hitting much closer to home in a big way right now. We'll get there in a minute, but first, NATO, led by the United States and Britain, are preparing for direct war with Russia, and some NATO members don't want to have anything to do with it. Those aren't my words. Those are the words of Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban this weekend, a NATO member who knows exactly what NATO is up to. A hot war is coming, and he doesn't want his men being killed in a fool's errand. According to the Prime Minister, he says there are alarming similarities right now between what is being said and prepared right before the start of World War I and World War II, and he wants out of it. For a NATO Prime Minister to say this is a huge deal, guys. Orban says NATO was created with the purpose of defending member states against aggressors, not waging wars outside of its territory. So what are these worrying developments this weekend? Well, according to the New York Times, it's this. Antony Blinken wants Ukraine to use long-range U.S. weapons to attack deep inside of Russia. Direct war.
These Russian attacks that are coming from bases inside Russia. So I think there's also a question of whether we, the United States and our allies, ought to give them more help in hitting Russian bases, which heretofore we've not been willing to do.
Oh, we're just getting started, because among the other bombshell nuggets in this report, the Biden administration is now actively discussing putting boots on the ground in Ukraine to train Ukrainian soldiers. Quote, the United States is now considering training Ukrainian troops inside the country rather than sending them to training grounds in Germany. That would require putting American personnel in Ukraine, something that Mr. Biden has prohibited until now. Yeah, he's breaking a lot of his promises. Long-range weapons, boots on the ground. The New York Times also exposed how Britain is already doing it. No debate. In the suicidal country of Britain, they're already doing it. Quote, Britain, usually in lockstep with Washington on war strategy, has quietly lifted its own restrictions so that its Storm Shadow cruise systems can be used to target Russia more broadly. Yes, deep inside of Russia. Britain has lost its mind. They want war with Russia so badly they can taste it. This week, they invited Ukrainian neo-Nazi Azov battalion members.
El mayor banco del mundo ha asumido el papel de agorero financiero. El caso es que habla de un escenario crítico que está a punto de estallar en la cara a Joe Biden, que muy seguramente le arrebatará sus aspiraciones reeleccionistas de noviembre próximo. ¿De qué ente financiero se trata? Nada menos que del legendario JP Morgan Chase. Su principal líder habla de un monstruo de dos cabezas que amenaza con devorarse lo que queda de la economía de la potencia del norte. ¿A cuál se refiere? ¿Al de la estanflación? Ese que combina una inflación disparada y un mortal decrecimiento económico y trae sobre su lomo al jinete del desempleo. Llegarán para no dejar nada de pie en su camino.
Podríamos decir que es la preparación de la entrada de Europa en la guerra. Palabras de Orbán. Tanto la Unión Europea como la OTAN han insistido en que no buscan la confrontación con Rusia. Esta es una operación de comunicación, de preparación de una acción bélica, afirmó Orbán, que centra su campaña electoral para las elecciones europeas, asegurando que el 9 de junio se decide entre la paz y la guerra, Alberto.
Bueno, esta noticia es brutal. Probablemente una de las más importantes que se ha producido durante los últimos meses. Es imposible que Orbán lleve a cabo esas declaraciones si no son muy precisas. Y sin lugar a dudas, recordad cómo Robert Fico, cómo terminó la cosa, ya dijo en su momento que estaba alucinado viendo cómo Francia, Alemania y más países europeos estaban locos por ir a la guerra contra Rusia. Eso fue hace meses. Desde entonces, el ambiente se podría ver de algún modo relajado. Bueno, pues si Orbán está diciendo eso ahora mismo, es que el plan que tiene Estados Unidos es llevar a Europa a la guerra. El mecanismo es muy sencillo. Han conseguido colocar, y de hecho yo creo que se consideran en una situación óptima para ello. Han conseguido colocar a todos los mandatarios, los más títeres y los más adecuados del Foro Económico Mundial. Charles Schwab, el presidente, el director del Foro Económico Mundial, había estado años presumiendo de su capacidad para colocar mandatarios en los países occidentales. Y entre ellos Pedro Sánchez, Macron, el chico de los Rothschild, la que tienen en Italia ahora mismo, Meloni. Presumía de todos. Bueno, pues si Orbán está diciendo que lo que se está hablando de puertas adentro es eso, y lo dice hacia afuera, es porque es cierto. Y ahora surge la pregunta. ¿Alguien ha desmentido a Orbán desde hace 3 días que es la noticia? Nadie.
The new strain of COVID is called the FLIRT variant. It's FLIRT, all capitals, except the I is lowercase.
Okay.
That's what we're doing now. It sounds like a cool band. It is not. It's not an app, and it's not a band. The FLIRT variant, it feels like they're messing with us with this nomenclature, but that's what we're calling it. Here's the news in Australia. Now remember that as the Northern Hemisphere goes into summer, Australia is going into winter. Watch.
A health warning tonight as a new mutation of COVID sweeps the country just in time for winter. The strain is highly contagious, prompting new advice on boosters and antivirals.
It takes a lot to floor 9 News Seniors reporter Bruce Page, but the past few days have been miserable.
This is a man who's had 6 shots. I thought, bulletproof? No, got me.
It's not the 75-year-old's first brush with COVID, but this round is much worse.
Knocked me over. First time was a breeze compared to this. Aches, coughing, ribs are sore from the coughing. I don't like it.
Okay, I wonder how that worked on you. Was that scary? He had a bad cold and he really didn't like it.
6 shots.
Yes. Well, I mean, if he'd spent more time reading the data and less time going to get COVID boosters, he would know that every booster he gets increases his risk of contracting COVID. We've had real world data to show that since at least 2022, and the CDC last year admitted that with the BA.2.86 variant, that it is more capable of causing infection to people who have previously had COVID or received COVID vaccines. So vaccination is a risk factor for getting COVID. We've seen that playing out.